Every beginning starts with an ending, sending goodbye notes I never wrote. An epitaph, my thank you letter. An obituary, the reason why I'm better. My mother knew she had a son. Unfortunately, this one had to rend and tear flesh first. My skin around me, choking, crushing, suffocating. Just like a butterfly, I had to melt myself down first, so I could burst out whole again. And when I did, society, a kid, a bird, began to pluck my wings and sing happily, a girl can't be a man. Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. What kind of kid was I? I mean, you're looking at it. My parents encouraged me to embrace any interest, and so most of my interests were pretty gender neutral. Not that interests have gender, but you know what I mean. I liked bionicles and baking, martial arts and fine arts, cartoons, and generally whatever craft came my way. I didn't care what I was supposed to like. Like this. This is a picture of me as a flower girl. I was like 4, and some of my friends were getting married, and my mom's friends were pretty radical. So they allowed me to pick what outfit I wanted. Without hesitation, I picked a tux. In fact, I refused to do it if I couldn't wear one. My parents did double check since my friends were getting married in the desert. Joys of living in California. To be honest, it was good practice for wearing bonnets, which are murder in the summer. And it's true, if I had worn a dress, it would have been much less suffocatingly hot. But a dress isn't a tux, so guess I'll melt. I remember loving wearing masculine clothing. And it wasn't just the clothing either. I didn't really fit in with girls and girl groups or boy groups either. Mind you, I also had ADHD. So that probably was a lot of it too. If we were being realistic, this would be a waiting room. After all, that's all being trans is. Waiting. Waiting rooms, waiting music. Waiting for letters, waiting for the right to fucking exist. But that's not what people think of when they think of transition. Waiting? No. That's all people think of transitioning. Waiting isn't interesting. Chopping off your bits. Now that's interesting. Anyway, I'm Mo, and this is the story of my trans-masculine experience. I have ADHD and dyslexia and an audio processing disorder. I'm mixed race, Danish or white, and Armenian or West Asian or Middle Eastern. I was born in the USA. I lived half my life there, and I lived half my life here in the UK. Oh, I'm more now. Oh, also, I have PTSD and anxiety. My story isn't unique, and that's the problem. Don't worry, I'll go into more detail on the parts that are important to the show. Of course, most of this is to point out that I'm not just trans, and that being trans doesn't happen in some void outside of the rest of who I am. But wait. Here, let me tell you some stories from when I was a kid. Maybe that'll help put it into perspective. So, when I was like 3, I had trouble with pronouns. I didn't know which ones to use for which people, because of course I didn't. So my mom got me this little feminist book that explained that there wasn't anything inherently different about boys and girls, except that boys have a penis and girls have a vulva. Hey, it was a good book, just, you know. So, one day I was sitting in the bath, and I referred to myself as a boy, and my mom goes, "What's the difference between boys and girls?" And I repeat what the book tells me. So, which one do you have? A penis. Oh, really? Yeah! She got a mirror, and she stood me over it, and I didn't have one, obviously. So when I looked down, naturally I go, "Oh, it's gone!" I'm trash. I must be. Hi again. How y'all doing? I'm trash. I must be. That's what society tells me. It tells me I'm a deviant, a pervert, that my existence hurts. The same as gay, which to this very day is played as a trick, a sick, a trend, something to be cured. And what's more, they make us the villains in shows, in articles, in studies, on the news. And despite all the abuse, despite our destruction and death, they have yet to apologize. So I internalize. I'm trash, to be passed back and forth, frothing at the mouth about how I'm such an inconvenience now. Now learn your place. The dumpster, under beds, in basements, where trash belongs, with every reason I'm wrong. Why I should hide, out from prying eyes where the good and clean reside. It's unnatural. It's against tradition, a sin. The reason, always on the tip of their tongue, not one to question their hypocrisy. No, it's me. I'm trash. I must be. That's what society tells me. None of this is a single individual's fault. It's a cultural thing. It's the obsession with the binary. It's the distrust of children to understand themselves. If you can't trust me, then maybe you can trust evidence, both anecdotal and in larger studies. Mind you, Most people who don't trust people like me won't trust any other evidence either. There's always a reason they come up with. It's not relatable, or it's too personal. You don't give them evidence, or it's the wrong kind of evidence. Or it's, I don't know, it's a fucking Saturday. It's all just a game of gaslighting for these bigots. Now, before I continue, let me be clear. I'm not going to show you all of my childhood photos. You're lucky that I'm showing you any. People often want to see before and after, but I'm not here to entertain your morbid curiosity about the body horror that was my life. Many trans people don't like looking at their old photos. It makes them dysphoric. Fortunately for me, I wasn't forced to be girly. Of course, as you have seen, I am willing to compromise. I understand how important it is to see things when you're trying to learn. That just being told isn't always enough. That not everybody learns in the same way. So I'm going to show you photos that match the stories I tell. Throughout my life, I was mistaken for a boy, or more aptly, recognized. Like the time I was in my all-girls school uniform, and the man behind the counter at the gas station said to my dad that he had one smart son, me. Guess he thought I was wearing a kilt. But that wasn't the first time, and it wouldn't be the last time either. It was humiliating, this constant correcting of people. When I said I wasn't a guy, I felt embarrassed. And people told me that I shouldn't be embarrassed because of other people's mistakes. But it felt more like I was embarrassed that I didn't care, and I should have. As I got older, it only got more complicated. Did you know that there's a growing body of evidence to connect neurodivergence and gender variance? It's funny how they legislate against trans treatment in the name of protecting children, but are willing to okay all sorts of terrible treatment of neurodiverse kids, like ABA, or ABA, which is Applied Behavioral Analysis, not bad. It's an abusive method of training autistic kids to behave like normal people. But let's be honest. It was never about protecting kids, was it? Because if it was, they wouldn't have created all sorts of loopholes in these trans legislation in order to allow them to continue to target intersex kids. If you can't trust me, then what am I supposed to be? A pet? A toy? Oh boy, the newest product on the line. A kid. Dress it, feed it, clean it. Show it off. Don't let it talk. Bodily autonomy and impossibility. Don't trust me. Not with my body, or mind, or any part of my life. Stay quiet. Seen, not heard. Truths unuttered. What? Choice unfettered? Never. Obey. Stay. Smile. I'll make you what you're meant to be. A direct reflection of me. Honestly, it's just policy. Behave properly, obedient, complacent, controlled. Should have known. When we were told, oh no, not till you're grown. How many generations will it take? How many will break until we will be believed? Why won't you trust me? Trust me. Trust me, please, please trust me. Just trust me. The first thing that happened, even before I started puberty, was admitting that I'd been assaulted when I was younger. Dealing with that would have been hard enough. But then my assaults had to take a back seat to the nightmare that was my body changing. I couldn't cope, and I didn't know you could be trans, much less that there was anything you could do about it. When I say puberty while trans is like body horror, I mean it. I can't put into words the terror I felt, the betrayal, the pain. So I thought I was broken, that there was something wrong with me and how I reacted to sex. And I treated it the only way I knew how, with self-harm and substance misuse. Not dealing with my issues made my behavior toxic and self-destructive. But that didn't matter, because at least I could seem like a straight woman. Don't I just look cishet? I got all tied up in knots. As I tried to figure out what was making me sick. And when I say making me sick, I mean it. I tried. I really did. I tried to be het. I tried to be cis. I tried to fuck myself straight. Fucking myself straight. Filling myself with hate. To satiate society with how I'm supposed to be. The correct me. Correct me. Fuck me. Fill me. Fix me. Hit my cervix. I deserve it. Earn this gut-wrenching gut punch. The pain the only way I know, this literal low blow, is working. Hurting me. Like self-harm, but that doesn't leave scars. Broken, smoking spice, so I could fit him inside and be right and ripe, like a fruit. I'm produce, produced to be consumed, plucked just for you, so pluck me, fuck me, straight. All lusting, disgusting. With every fucking, I felt the sin slither in beneath my skin, crying for hours in the shower, scour off flesh, the disassociation fresh, as the high left. Let the water pour, sitting on the floor, rinse the rot. Don't be picky. Be glad he picked me. Don't you see? This is how I must be. Fuck me. Full, foul, fetid, wretched. Don't you get it? Fuck me. Till it hurts. Till my body doesn't work. Because this is what I deserve. In the end, I chose sobriety. No judgment to those who don't. I still miss it. Miss being high. I even miss being in the closet sometimes. I miss not having to deal with people who didn't know shit about people like me. I miss not having to hear them argue about whether or not I deserve to live. missed feeling kind of like I was empty or dead. I missed being a fuck up. When it's all you know, you develop a kind of Stockholm syndrome with it. But I couldn't stay there. So I sobered up, which meant I had to face the truth. I had to come out. And it took time. Multiple times, in fact. Trying on different labels and seeing how my friends and family would react. Scared to find the answer and lose people. I mean, people ostracize you just for being gay. Being trans is even worse. But I did it, and because of that, I was able to move on. Well, sort of. Not only do you have to come out constantly, over and over and over again, because every time you meet someone, they assume you're cis and straight, but also, so many people just don't believe you. Or if they do, they don't think being trans is real or acceptable. And then there are the questions they ask you. I'm not going to go into detail on some of the really unpleasant ones. Instead, I'll tell you about some of my favorite, which is, how did you know? And the truth is, how do any of us know who we are? There's no one moment I could point to and be like, there, that's it. One thing I think people need to remember is that gender is a never-ending journey for everyone, even people who don't realize it. To people on the outside, it might seem like it happened overnight, because at some point, you worked up the courage to come out, which in reality is just telling people that that what they've been assuming the whole time was wrong, and that you're tired of hiding. Like, surprise, motherfucker! I guess. So I think the first thing that we have to dispel is the myth that only trans people question their identity and gender. It's just about degrees. Like, we like to think of people in these neat little boxes as one thing at a time, but that's just not true. We are complicated Gordian knots of things that all twist and intersect, if you will. In the grand scheme of things, I'm doing all right. I'm not at the top of the privilege pile, but I'm not at the bottom either. After all, I had the luxury of being able to pay for my surgeries when the NHS didn't deliver. Guess I'm lucky that friends left me some money and that my parents had some savings from work. That's probably not what most people think of as luck and luxury, is it? It certainly didn't feel like it either. Being privileged enough to live. It pisses me off that people like me have to do the work to teach others the same thing over and over and fucking over again. It's almost like bigots don't want to actually learn. You know, like TERFs, who have more in common with evangelical Christians than anyone even remotely radical. There are people who campaign against my existence while quoting outdated and outright false information. Transitioning is hard, especially when you're in the early stages. To me, that's the hardest part. People judge you the hardest when you don't fit into those neat little boxes. If you don't look obviously like a man, or obviously like a woman, get ready to fail. And people treated talking about my experience like it was always political. Like, fuck, I didn't know my existence was political. I didn't know that me being alive was such a burden to others.